It is Monday, October 27th, 2025. This is another World Series edition of Baseball Today. It is presented to you by Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Looking for a refreshing citrusy kick? Go grab yourself a Mountain Dew. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, and intern Sawyer along for the ride as well, as we're essentially going to play two today because we got the pregame looking ahead to game three. Then we'll have a post-game show as well. I believe Jolly Olive is going to join me because Trevor Plouffe's going to be on the road at Dodger Stadium, taking in the sights and sounds between the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. Is this the first? This isn't the first World Series game you've gone to, right? Did you go last year?
I went last year. I went with my buddies. We saw Juan Soto hit a homer, and I was acting the part as a Dodgers fan, and I cheered when Juan Soto hit the homer because I just like good ball. So it got me in trouble a little bit in the stands.
Okay. Jake is out here, right?
Jake is out here. Robbie Sirocco, and then Courtney, and then I think some other people who, more front office like people for us.
For front office. Well, they deserve shout outs too. Maybe we'll get a nice big picture of everybody together. Yeah, I'm going to be going out there and getting some pregame content that hopefully you'll be seeing on our social media channels. And then I'll probably come home and watch because I think I'll be doing the show with Jolly Olive post-game. So It'll be nice. You'll have, although we'll miss you, you'll have your take with Jake on talking baseball, and then Jolly and my perspective here on Baseball Today. Sound good?
Jolly knows ball. I like it.
Oh, Jolly definitely knows ball. Yep. Oh, my favorite comment is you either do know ball or don't know ball, depending on how many predictions you get right. You have to get everyone right in order to know ball, and then you obviously don't know ball.
Well, if you agree with their team being good, then you know ball.
Right. Oh, we got plenty of that too. We get plenty of that, so that's fun. All right, so the World Series turns its attention to Los Angeles, California. We're tied at 1 apiece. This is going to be a fun one. Starting pitching matchup. You got two energetic guys out there. 41-year-old Max Scherzer will go for the Blue Jays and go with Tyler Glasnow for the Dodgers, a guy who grew up going to this stadium as a kid.
I'm trying to just go into it like it is any other game. Obviously, it's the World Series for my hometown team, and it's awesome. But I think for me, I guess this whole postseason and like any start to season, I think if you go and you just handle what you can and like simplify it in your workday and simplify it while you're out there on the mound, I think a lot of the other stuff is just kind of noise. It's very like sentimental and amazing, but I think that's kind of something I'll look back on more and focus on and like really feel the feelings of it maybe when this is all done. But I'm just trying to go to work and do well.
There's so many great players that have never gotten a World Series. So many great players where they only have one World Series. With Donnie on our team, he's gone his whole career, and now this is his first moment. So I absolutely respect playing in a World Series, what that means, and absolutely cherish these opportunities. So when I get a chance to get the ball, man, this means everything.
Well, the energy, first of all, is going to be really free-flowing out there with those two dudes out there.
In just such different ways, too. Like, they both presented the exact same, like, thought right there, but just wildly differently. That was something else.
Is there an over-under on the number of times that Glasnow fixes his hair today? Because he does that.
Every other pitch, at least. I mean, yeah. He's got good hair.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't think he could ever go back out there with short hair.
I think eventually we could see him do like a shave my head and people are like, oh, he really is good looking. Like when you shave your head, you better be good looking.
Mm-hmm.
And he is.
And he's also 6'8" and Adonis and a freakish.
Let's stop right now.
Well, listen, I've spent enough time around him.
What about Max Scherzer?
41 years old, dude. He's dad bod guy.
He's one of us, Chris. He's one of us.
He is one of us. He is one of us. All right, so let me ask you this. Both one or neither of those guys will be around when the 5th inning starts.
I made the mistake of saying Max was going to go one time through the order in his last start against the Mariners. I think both and I hope it's because they're pitching well, but I think both out of necessity. Like, again, I've said it last show, I think both managers really don't love the options in the bullpen, and they want their starters to give them at least 5 innings. Now, I think Schneider will have probably a quicker leash than Dave Robets will, because I think he has more options to go. But again, I believe I mean, obviously every manager wants their starter to go deeper into the games, but we've made the point of in the postseason that really hasn't been the case. It's been max 2 times through the order. I think they're going to push these guys. I think both of them end up surpassing the 5 inning mark.
I agree. Start with Scherzer. 3 of his last 4 starts, he has worked at least 5 full. Last time we saw him against Seattle, he almost made it 6 full innings, which is pretty good. He had one kind of bump in the road. It might have been his last regular season start where I don't even think he made it out of an inning. But that's been pretty much it. Glasnow, the first appearance he had, you're still laughing at that, aren't you?
Because it's real. Like sometimes you're like, okay, you knew that was going to happen, but he was really pissed and like, no, get out of here. You're so, I can't. It's too good.
I think that was, of all the predictions you've made in the postseason outside of Braves over Astros in 6, that was as good as it gets just because of the end result. So good. Glasnow, 2 starts. Remember, his first appearance was out of the bullpen this year. 1 earned run in 11 2/3, 16 strikeouts. The 6 walks is the thing that can be a little bit of alarming, right? So when the plate moves around on him, also with how big a game it is, listen, he did make a couple of World Series starts, albeit very strange circumstances when he was with Tampa Bay. He started games 1 and 5. But remember, that was in kind of not a packed house in Arlington, COVID time. Very, very bizarre. That's going to be very different than in the ballpark where you grew up learning and loving about this game and being on that mound for your hometown team when you didn't even have a chance to throw a postseason pitch a year ago. So the emotions are going to be very different for him. I'll be fascinated to see how that first inning goes.
Yeah, I mean, look, it could go either way. I know we say that sometimes in this show and people don't like it, but it's the truth. I mean, you're going to ask me a question later about starters coming in out of the bullpen. I don't really know if the Dodgers have that and have the length that they want. So again, I think Glasnow will be pushed a little bit more than Scherzer would be,
And
in case something goes wrong early on in the game.
Something to keep in mind in both games. The Blue Jays have threatened seriously in the first inning, right? They had the bases loaded against Blake Snell. They did not score. And then they had, what was it, first and third, and nobody out against Yamamoto, and they still couldn't push a run across, I believe.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. He struck out first, third, struck out Vlad, got a line out, and struck out Varsho.
Yeah.
And then they got the 1 run when Kirk hit the sac fly the second time they had all the traffic on.
Yeah. Yeah. So Blue Jays have been hot right out, though. They've been hot the entire time. So let's get to that starting pitcher question. When do you start using those guys out of the bullpen? Is game 3 too early? And I'm thinking of it this way. Guys' throw days, maybe they don't throw because we'll use them for an inning.
Again, well, we know Bassett is already doing that for the Blue Jays. That's kind of been his role. So I think we will see him. He's been good. I think Bassett ends up becoming a high leverage guy for
I would agree.
Blue Jays. His stuff has ticked up. It looks really good. He's a veteran, so you can kind of count on the mound presence out there in the game not getting too big for him. We've seen him I don't know. He just seems like right out of the pen right now. So I think we'll see him. As far as Blake Snell, I think would be the guy that would go tonight because would pitch on Wednesday, right?
Right. So I guess that's my question. Is it too weird to ask guys to do something like that, even though it could be an incredibly valuable inning?
I don't think Dave Robets does. I don't, even though he needs to more than any other manager in recent postseason history. I don't think he does. I don't think that's his MO. I don't think he wants to expose Blake again. Blake didn't look great in game 1. So I don't think that happens. I'm trying to think of who else could do that. They're not. Yamamoto's not doing it.
Right. Well, I mean that's pretty much it.
Blake's the only guy, and to me that doesn't happen.
Okay. All right.
Do you think so?
No, I don't. I think Blake Snell's the only guy that could do it today. Now you get to tomorrow, then it gets to be Yamamoto's throw day, and
do you just go Ohtani, Yamamoto, Sasaki, and just go team WBC
Team
Japan on them? That'd be
Baseball.
awesome, dude.
That would be incredible. Awesome. Well, let's look at it this way. I'm going to read the list of pitchers that are available on each team. All you have to say is the word trust or the words don't trust? Here we go. Banda.
Depends on the situation.
Dryer.
Let's make this like high leverage. Let's say that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Banda, no.
Dryer.
No.
Henriquez. He must be on the roster, huh?
No.
Kershaw.
No.
Klein. I didn't even hear of him.
Stuff looked pretty good, but no.
Yeah. Sheehan.
No.
Roki.
Yes.
Trinan.
Oddly enough, yes.
Robleski.
No.
That's a lot of no's.
Well, I mean, I feel bad doing that. That's my least favorite game you've ever made me play right there. You know I don't like that game.
Okay. It gets even better. Let's do the Toronto side.
Gosh. Okay. Don't clip this.
Bassett.
Yes.
Dominguez.
Yes.
Fisher.
No.
Fluharty.
Kinda. Depends on who he's facing, but yes.
Hoffman. Yes.
Yes.
Lauer.
No.
Little.
No.
And Louis Varland.
My friend. He's on my Trinan level, like kind of, but like he just gets hit every time right now. He's thrown so much.
It gets
too
hard.
much.
It gets hard because look at the teams that have won the World Series in recent years and how hot some of their bullpens. Like Atlanta's came out
That's
of
what I'm
nowhere,
saying.
right?
We don't have that this year.
You do not have it. I think both teams are white knuckling. That's why they're going to need these starters to perform well. If they have to go to the bullpen and they're still in the game, let's say it's after 4 innings, it's like 5-4. And the game is still totally up for grabs as long as it's not like 7-1, and then it changes the thought.
It's Bassett. Bassett goes 3. That is the weapon for the Blue Jays. That gives them such an advantage over the Dodgers.
Okay, so Dodgers fans and Blue Jay fans in particular, but if you're a baseball fan that feels like you have an identifiable grip on these teams, play that same game and just let us know which relievers you would be comfortable with in high leverage situations moving forward.
If we play that game again, I'm asking the questions. You're answering. Because that, I don't like to do that to these guys.
Sorry, I thought it was pretty
Because
fun.
everyone will just be like, you didn't even pitch play in the postseason. You stink.
Oh,
It
stop.
hurts my feelings, Chris.
Speaking of which, baseball postseason, it's in full swing. So keep up with the World Series with T-Mobile, the best network in America, according to Ookla's speed test. With the most towers, a signal that goes farther than ever before, and the most advanced 5G, you can catch even more of the postseason. So whether you're streaming the games out and about or checking stats on the road or cheering on your team's game at the ballpark, you're connected wherever your fandom takes you. So all you have to do is head on over to T-Mobile.com/network to switch to the best network for baseball fans. It's better over here. All right. Give me one guy on each team that needs to forget about their stint in Canada and hit the refresh button when we go to LA. Let's start with the hometown Dodgers. We'll each go, and then we'll each do a Blue Jay.
I'm going to go with Teoscar Hernandez over the last 4 games. The overall numbers, not great, but the last 4 games he is, let me do this math real quick, 1 for 14 with a bunch of Ks. Like, just hasn't been himself, and he's been such a great postseason player for the Dodgers. So I think he needs to get it going. And that a lot of that lineup hasn't looked great, but Teoscar to me is the guy that can be a huge difference maker in the way that we talk about Max Muncy can be a difference maker in that lineup.
Yeah. In fact, I don't mean to pile on, but you and I are in the same lane on this one. He has struck out 5 of the 7 at-bats so far, even though he loved being in Toronto and got a really nice, warm welcome. It's been brutal. 4 for his last 31. No extra base hits in that span after starting the playoffs with a 4-game hitting streak in which he hit 3 homers in those first 4 games. So he got off and running after not having a great 2025. It was some of his lowest production since he's been in the big leagues. And yeah, he's just got to wipe it clean. And, here's the nice thing about Teo. He's always smiling. So I think he's able to turn the page a lot easier than some people. All he needs is one good swing to get back in it, but it's going to be critical if the Dodgers are going to repeat to get him back to center. How about for the Blue Jays?
We just talked about him. I'm going to go Louis Varland. Did we do the same guys?
We sure did.
Oh, man. I mean, he's pitched in 13 games already this postseason.
I think it's 11 of 13.
It's 11 of 13?
Yeah, because they played 4 and then
7.
I'm
sorry. I'm looking at his game log. He pitched 2. This is his whole postseason game log. 11. Yes, 11 games.
Yeah.
And they are going to use him in high leverage situations. Like, that's what Schneider's done. He continues to give him the ball. He has great stuff, but he's been running into trouble. The long ball, just in general getting hit. And I think that he needs to, and he does, Chris. That's the thing, is I know him, and like, he is a guy that's like very mentally tough and can forget about, yesterday and come back and be totally fine. Stuff plays up. So I think he will be okay, but if that's my guy.
Yeah. I mean, he is the most high leverage guy in terms of strict relievers that they've got before they get to Hoffman. So if you need to try and get out of a jam in the 6th inning, it's Louis Varland. If your starter is pitching well and you get to the 8th inning and it's a tie game, it's Louis Varland. He has been in every situation. You definitely wonder how his arm is feeling. He faced 4 guys in game 2. He went fly out, gave up a single to Pages. If you're giving up a hit to Andy Pages this day, maybe you got to reevaluate. He's struggling that bad. Single to Shohei, and then he walked Betts, and they were like, all right, this is it. Can't do this anymore. So the Dodgers got that first look at him, and we talk about how important it is to get a good look at guys you're going to be seeing in a long series 3 or 4 or 5 times. Well, chalk that one up. You already got one.
I think he's high leverage. But Schneider picks the lane better for him. I don't think he goes to the top of the lineup. I think Fluharty might be that guy for them.
Yep.
Go Shohei, Mookie, Freddie. And then if you wanted to throw Louis against the middle part where there's more right-handed bats, I think that is a better option. And, that could mean the difference in him being, a World Series hero or being a World Series GOAT.
Let me ask you this. There are some people that are saying that Dave Robets is making it too easy on Schneider to put Fluharty in there. Would you go Shohei, Betts, Will Smith, Freddie Freeman?
I think there's a world where that happens. I think he's got to make some interesting lineup decisions. We'll talk about it a little bit in the show, with the Pages and with that lane. Yes, I do believe that is a little too easy.
I agree. Don't
Doesn't
line
make
him up.
if you're Schneider, you really don't have to think about it.
No. It's easy. I mean, it's a simple move. Nobody's going to get mad at you for putting in your best lefty at the time against those 2 guys. All right, so as the series now moves to L.A., let's answer these following questions. Which of the Dodgers' big 3 at the top of the lineup is most likely to go off? Is it Shohei, Betts, or Freeman?
I'm not giving Shohei as my answer here, even though like that, I feel like you can always pick that and be right. I'll go Freddie Freeman. There's just something about his ability to work at bats and the consistency that he has as a hitter. Now, Mookie's actually been okay. Hasn't really hit for power. He's gotten his hits. I see a big homer coming from Freddie at home. We saw it last year when he walked off game 1, and for some reason, maybe that's in my mind, but in the crystal ball that's up here, I'm going Freddie Freeman, big homer at one of these games in LA.
Welcome back, Shohei. The last time you were at Dodger Stadium, you only played maybe the greatest game we've ever seen in the history of the sport. So I'm not going to discount that at all. In fact, he did very little in the NLCS, and he still ended up winning the trophy as being the MVP because of his one-game performance. And just when he has that ability, it doesn't mean that it gets going tonight. It just means it's somewhere over the 3-game stint that we are guaranteed to have here in Los Angeles. Bo Bichette expected to start at second base in game 3. Will he start all 3 games in LA?
Back to back. If I'm a manager, I say, Bo, let's go. It's time. We got to do this. And I start him all 3 games. They gave him game 2 off or they didn't start him. He ended up pinch hitting. He doesn't look right. So that concerns me a little bit. He's not running the ball out very well. He looked pretty good at second base. I'd say yes. I think they need as much offense as possible in there, and that is their best lineup. So I'll say yes. I think he is. I think John Starter has to make that decision.
I think if it's yes, I think one of the games is at DH, and you'll see Springer in the outfield. And I don't know when that is. I don't know if it's against Blake Snell in Game 5 or if it's Game 4 where they want to get Bichette off his feet. The thing I really worry about, and it has not shown up yet because he made that really good play to his right behind second base, is what's going to happen if he's a step slow on turning a double play and an inning survives because of that. Like, those are the moments that you really don't think about and don't even show up in a box score. But because of a guy doesn't play, he hadn't played that position in 6 years since he had been in the minor leagues. And if he's a little slow just because of his gait, that's the thing that worries me as much as anything.
I think he looks good defensively moving around. And so to me, what that says, because you see him running down the first base and he's not running full speed, not running 100%. I think what we're seeing is him taking it easy on a routine ground ball, something like that around the base pass. And, if you're a fan, you're like well, that sucks having a guy that's not going to run out ground balls in the World Series, but he's taking it easy there. But the plays like defensively, and maybe if he has to go first or third,
right?
I think he can turn it on. I think he's just choosing his spots right now.
That's what he should. I don't think anybody's going to begrudge him for trying to preserve himself. It's very Stantonian, if you will.
Exactly. But I think he's got sometimes when Stanton tries to turn it on, it's not there. I think Bo still can do that right now.
Would you continue to start Andy Pages, even though he's hitting only .093 in the playoffs?
I go back and forth on this one because on the one hand, you say, okay, yeah, he can play a good defensive center field. So you want him in there for the game. But then I'm also like, can't you just – they've gotten him out of center field late in the games too. Put Dean out there. So like what's – if you don't start him, he doesn't come in. You're not going to put him in there for defense, right? Or do you – it seems like Dean's that guy. Or do you put him in instead of Dean?
Right, because Pages has moved to a corner when we've seen Dean come into the game.
He wouldn't move. Yeah. So that's interesting to me. I think you switch it up. I think you got to get him out of there. And again, we're trying to score runs. The Dodgers haven't been this offensive juggernaut in the postseason, and we've seen what Toronto's offense can do. So I think you want to have your best lineup in there. Edman can't play center field. That seems apparent. I think I'd go Kike in center field.
That's what I would do too. So you'd put Alex Call in left?
You'd have to. That's what you go to, yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. He's a 775 OPS against left-handed pitching, which they don't have a lot of, and certainly no starters. But he's 725 against right-handed. It's not like he's horrible, and Pages is right now. And they've talked about Alex Call and how much they like that his at-bats, that he grinds them out and he fouls pitches off, and he can be a little bit of a pest. It almost sounds like he would fit perfectly in Toronto's lineup. And if that's what's missing right now a little bit in the Dodgers, in the bottom part of their lineup, is to extend some at-bats and make pitchers work and get on occasionally, yeah, I would do it.
Then you bring in Pages at the end of the game for defense?
You can if you want to.
Get Teoscar out of there if you have the lead, I guess.
Yes.
That's if I'm a manager, I do that. It's now's not the time for feelings,
right?
It's win. That's it. It's all that matters.
Last one I've got is, will either Jeff Hoffman or Roki Sasaki throw a pitch before the 8th inning in any of the 3 games in LA?
Absolutely. Both these guys have gone multiple innings for their team, and both the managers, like we said, they don't have a ton of options out there, so absolutely.
Well, there's a difference, though. The 8th inning can be considered multiple innings if you're trying to close a game. The 7th inning, different animal, because if you get into the 7th inning with a closer, very rarely, we did see Roki go 3 innings earlier this year in the playoffs, but it's very rare that it happens for a guy who's going to finish a game.
I still say yes if it's the right lane. Like if we're getting the meat of the lineup up and it's the high leverage end of the 7th into the 8th, we figure out the 9th. I think you have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers, I suppose, have an advantage where Blake Trinan has had a ton of success in his career in closing out games and playoff games as well. I think that Chris Bassett would be the answer if he hadn't already been used. Like, I think he's the next guy in line. I don't think it's a Louis Varland if for some reason he hadn't been used. But I do think that John Schneider's got a decision to make because let's say that he hasn't used Varland yet. Let's say that whether it's Scherzer or Bieber or Savage in one of these games has thrown well and somehow gets to the 7th, and the Blue Jays have a 1 or 2 run lead. You would expect Hoffman maybe to come out
in the 7th?
Yeah.
It just depends on what part of the lineup is up, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to see that come into play somewhere. I think there's so much pressure on the managers right now.
They're gonna have to earn it for sure.
Yeah. Game 1, you're kind of settling into a series. If your pitchers don't pitch great, like Savage somehow gave them 4 innings, still made it work. Snell worked into the 6th, couldn't record an out, and so Dave Robets had to decide some stuff, and it blew up in his face. Well, now the series is tied at 1-1. The series all of a sudden becomes a best of 5. Things are shrinking. Time is running out. Every pitching decision gets crucified. And I'm here for it.
Each manager's had one game where they could sit back and just watch the game and hang, and then another one where they had to make decisions so far.
Yeah. This is going to be fun. I cannot wait. Today's episode of Baseball Today, it's sponsored by Nutrafol. There is nothing quite like the postseason. It's full of moments that we can take our hats off to. That's why Nutrafol is now the official hair growth partner of Major League Baseball. They want to help fans celebrate what's under the hat with thicker, stronger hair that they can feel confident showing off. Nutrafol, it's the #1 hair growth supplement in the game. Clinically proven to see results in 3 to 6 months, which is pretty fast. Nutrafol, it's all about growth, the kind that takes time, commitment, consistency, and that's why they love partnering with baseball, because it's more than just a game. It's about showing up day after day, season after season, because when you get to the biggest moments, nothing should hold you back. And in this postseason, whether you're tipping your cap to a walk-off winner, just simply enjoying the game, you can do it with hair worth celebrating. Visit Nutrafol.com to take $10 off your first month subscription and join millions seeing thicker and stronger hair. All right, so we had a travel day back to L.A. for both teams. Dodgers, one of their charter flights apparently had a few issues getting to Los Angeles. Here is skipper Dave Robets.
I don't want to get too far into it. I just arrived about 30 minutes ago, so there were some delays. I don't know if there was intent or not, but the international stuff was a bear. But we made it. We made it.
Whiny or worthwhile complaint?
Whiny. No doubt about it. Look, everyone hates going through TSA and customs, all that stuff, but everyone's got to do it. So it's whiny. He doesn't have global entry. Let's go.
It's a little confusing as to what happened where. It sounds like it happened in Los Angeles and they were understaffed.
So there was intent in Los Angeles.
So he kind of double backed on. He backed up a little bit on that and said,
"Okay,
yeah, I shouldn't have used the word intent because it made it sound a little bit like this was a Canadian conspiracy to make things worse." And I know that this is the opposite way. So if the series goes back to Toronto for game 6 and or 7, everybody will have to redo this as well. There's not like a special professional athlete lane when you get there, right?
Yeah, there is.
Oh, there is.
Leaving is different. Leaving Canada coming into the U.S. is much harder than going into Canada. When you go into Canada, you hop off the bird, you grab your bag. There's a little building you go through. There's a customs officer there. He says yes or no, and then you just walk on. It's a breeze, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer because they'll check some things, but it's simple. Coming back into the U.S., you do go through the airport. You are in a regular terminal. you have your own plane, but you have to walk through that. So
So
it's
this is
harder.
in Canada, right?
Yeah, harder coming back to the U.S. than going to Toronto for sure.
Got it. So if you just hang out at the Toronto airport, you could see the
Oh
LA
yeah.
Dodgers, the
Oh
Minnesota
yeah.
Twins.
I mean, that's how it used to be. Well, I guess I went to Toronto not too long ago with the Twins on the charter, and yeah, same thing.
Yeah. So you could see the Nashville Predators or the Cleveland
I've sat down.
Cavaliers.
I've sat down as a player. I sat down at one of the airport bars because we were delayed a little bit. And just had a couple beers. I met some like country singer there.
Did you have Molson, Labatt's, something
I
different?
don't know. I don't know. Something. It's a long time ago, Chris.
Yeah, I was a Molson guy back in the day.
You do know who has legal issues or like a DUI?
Oh,
Those guys going into Canada, they ride a different bus because they have to
you're
stay for a
kidding.
while. Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's not funny that they got one because that's never should that happen anymore.
No, it's not funny.
Um,
Did it surprise you who was on the naughty bus and who was nice?
No, not really. Not really. You're like,
You
oh yeah,
could-
that makes sense.
You could hand pick it out.
It's not funny, people.
It is not funny.
That's the truth.
That's true. That's true. We are not laughing at criminals, but okay. Playoff season's here. Whether you're at a watch party, a tailgate, hanging with friends after the game, nothing levels up those moments like the refreshing tropical lime kick of Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Baja Blast. It's legendary. It's available everywhere in every shape and form. We're talking about can or bottle. It's perfect as your traveling partner. So this postseason, whether you're hanging out with friends or you're rooting for your favorite team or against your least favorite team, because that can be fun too. You could be grabbing food late night after the game. You could have gone to a fall tailgate this weekend, doing it college-wise on Saturday, NFL on Sunday. Grab something that'll help tie it all together, and that is Baja Blast. Do not wait. Grab Mountain Dew Baja Blast today and taste the tropical refresh that takes every occasion to the next level. Find it now at mountaindew.com/finddew. All right. Reason I'm wearing an Orioles cap when they're nowhere close to the playoffs right now. That's because they got a new skipper. It's going to be Craig Albernaz. 42-year-old was Cleveland's associate manager the last few seasons under Stephen Vogt. Albernaz, it'll be his managerial debut in the big leagues. He's going to take over a last-place team that was very disappointing, going 75-87. First of all, you know Craig a little bit, right?
I do. I mean, first met him back with when he was with Tampa and Delman Young as a player. Delman was good friends with him, and we used to hang out sometimes in spring training. That was way back when we had some fun back then. And then, yeah, after that, throughout his time with the Orioles and the Guardians and stuff, just, every time I am calling a game or whatever, I say hi to him. Nice guy.
Yeah, and this isn't totally shocking, particularly with the number of openings. So Cleveland has lost a couple of big coaches in Albernaz and Kai Correa, who went up to take over for the Mets bench role, I believe, which is kind of surprising that Cleveland would let him go knowing that Albernaz was leaving.
Did I say the Orioles? I'm meaning the Giants, but I don't know. He might have been with the Orioles as well.
What's that? Albernaz?
Albernaz.
I think he was, I think he was with the Giants.
I think I said Orioles, but I meant Giants.
Yeah. So the big question here is, what are you most looking forward to with the Orioles offseason as they try and revamp with this young core?
God, that's a great question, Chris.
If you're not ready, I can go.
Yeah, tell me what you think. I'm not ready for that question. That's a loaded question.
Well, it is, because I think, they were the most disappointing team in the American League, and the Braves, I think, were the most disappointing team in the National League, although they played exceptionally well, I thought, down the stretch. For me, it's where are we with Adley Rutschman? And maybe Albernaz, who is a former minor league catcher and a catching instructor as well, really knows a lot about the position, can help him get it back on track. He wowed us. He was a runner-up for Rookie of the Year in 2022 when he played 113 games, had a WAR of almost 5.5. Dipped a little bit the next year, but he was still not only an all-star, but a top 10 MVP finisher. WAR went down to 4.3. Then in 2024, it dipped to 3.4. Now, he had played virtually every game very consistently. He came up a little bit later in 2022. That's why he only played 113 games. Last year, injuries cost him 72 games, and his WAR was under 2. He had a 673 OPS, significantly below where he's been, but he has been trending the wrong direction. And the guy who we thought was kind of an easy extension candidate, now we're sitting here and wondering, is he trade bait? Are they done with him? Are they ready to move on? He's not 24. He's going to be, let me see here. I'm going to guess he's either just turned 28 or about to turn 28. He'll be 28 in February. So where are we with him? What can the new skipper, can he get him back to center? Or is this a guy who's worth moving on from? Because I never would have thought that a year ago.
So I have some things to say about the Orioles, and I don't know how this happens, but it needs to happen. All of these guys who, were the future of the Orioles, you just mentioned one of them, but we're talking about Heston Kjerstad, we're talking about Colton Cowser, we're talking about Gunnar Henderson, obviously still fine year for him, but probably not up to standards. How do you get these guys? Jackson Holiday, throw him on here. Ryan Mountcastle, throw him on here. Or is he a free agent?
Mountcastle?
Not a free
I
agent.
think he's got one more year.
How do you get these guys feeling like they're the guys again? Like that's what a new manager has to come in and say, you guys, look, bad year for them. Like as far as just team and performance individually, how do you make them feel like you're the guys, you're the future of this franchise? I think that's going to be one thing he has to do, is just get them feeling confident again. You have a year like they had, especially early on in your career, you start to question, hey, am I that guy? Am I supposed to be here? Imposter syndrome comes in. You got to be able to get back that kind of mojo. So I don't know if that all falls on Craig Albanaz. If a veteran presence is needed to get these guys back up to kind of, light the fire a little bit, but that has to happen, because when we saw them winning, it was a lot of those young guys coming up. They were they were told, you are the future, you are the man. And we saw Gunnar have an incredible year, and Adley was doing his thing. And I think that sentiment has gone from this team a little bit. Got to bring it back up. You got to stoke the fire somehow.
It's interesting when you look at their contracts and salaries on Baseball Reference, they only have one guy they have to pay next year, and it's Tyler O'Neill at $16.5 million. Mateo has an option, which I'm sure they're not going to pick up. It's $5.5 million.
You're saying the rest of them have options or arbitration?
No, well, first of all, the guys that are free agents, Eflin's a free agent. Gary Sanchez, whatever. Mountcastle's in his walk year. Trevor Rogers, who has been an incredible reclamation project after a disastrous 2024, is in his walk year, and he was great. But everybody else is either kind of in the midst of their arbitration time, whether that's a Felix Bautista, a Dean Kramer, guys like that. And then there's a bunch of dudes who are still like pre-arb, I think.
Yeah.
That, it's still an exceptionally young core, and it feels like one or two tweaks and they could be back in this thing. But I think they're a fascinating team to watch in terms of which direction they decide to go.
Do they remind you of the Blue Jays a little bit?
No.
Okay.
Because the Blue Jays would spend big dollars. I mean, this is a top 5 payroll team, and the Orioles are the exact opposite. They don't pay for anybody.
Why? Let's go.
Yeah. Well, that's a discussion. Probably it's an off-season discussion to be had on another day. All right. Once again, make sure you tune in live. I think Talking Baseball will be going live, and then Baseball Today will be going out and getting out hopefully within the hour after final pitch. So make sure you check out both. That way you can get the opposing views on how we see the game, and can't wait. Let us know what you're most looking forward to, not only in Game 3, but over the next 3 games, all of which will be played in Los Angeles. How's this going to go? Who's going to be the star? Who are we going to be talking about? Which manager's got the more pressure? All sorts of stuff to comment on. So for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern, Sawyer, that is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you after Game 3 of the World Series here on Baseball Today, presented to you by Mountain Dew Baja Blast.